This was weird to me. Let's talk about metal.
Okay.
What's this made of? Metal. And where do we get the ore to make the metal?
Mines.
The mines are critical to our survival, but the work is hard and it's dangerous and nobody wants to do it. So you have to do it. You and others like you who have fallen foul of the pact. Just because you'll be wearing yellow coveralls doesn't mean that you won't be of vital service to the silo.
So the thing that bothered me about this was the ore mining is critical to the survival of the silo, and yet it's done via forced labor. I mean,
Okay.
shouldn't
What do you
we
mean?
actually have enthusiastic workers working the mines? Wouldn't that make efficiency
I see
better?
what you're saying. And you're also saying you should not force people for anything that's critical. It should not rely on forced labor, because forced labor is going to be the quickest labor to be like, F this, I'm not doing it.
Right. So then, okay, so they force. Okay, so maybe the mine work is really arduous. And they got like pickaxes, like ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Just get the ore out of there.
painful.
I don't care how you
Yep.
do it. You know, this kind of thing. But then you've got there's post processing. You've got to get the ore. You've got to have a foundry, a smelter. Like I don't know how it works. You
Yeah.
put the ore in a thing and you heat it up and you
Just melt it, burn
it's
off
high
everything,
energy intensive and
pull off the slag.
there's metallurgy involved, impurities, and I don't even know. It sounds really technical and difficult. So is there a whole foundry in the silo manned by people who are knowing what they're doing? Are they,
There,
are they
there
like
must be. There
Right?
must be if they're refining metal out of ore.
Right. And then in addition to that, you got to take the pure metal and turn it into finished goods.
Mm-hmm.
And the finished goods, they're not like making complex things. They're making like solid objects like wrenches or containers. They're not making like
There's no integrated circuits.
Yeah. So even to have this huge supply chain within the silo itself, from ore to metal to finished goods, how much of the silo population is that taking? I mean, they only have 10,000 people to work with.
That's right. So they portray it. Well, I guess I always assumed it was one third, one third, one third, because they portray the uppers, the mids, and the down deep. But actually, in order for this place to function, I think it needs to be almost entirely down deep.
Right.
Or
They're the only
at
ones.
least a huge portion of down deep, right?
Right.
Because there's so many layers and so many bodies needed in order for this machinery to run.
That's right. So you got the ore refining, the ore supply chain, which has got to take up a huge population of the silo. You've got just the maintenance of the silo machines like air, water, power. That's going to take up a huge portion of the 10,000 people. I mean, I think the top people have to be like an upper crust, and the
gotta be
majority
small,
of the
right?
silo is mechanical because
Right. To operate the
can't-
machinery, not the physical. I mean, yes, the literal physical machinery, but I meant the machinery as in the organizational machinery of how an organization such
I
as the
see.
silo runs.
Right.
And so this, I see what you're saying. It's strange that it's like the criminals and the rejects and the, I mean, I guess it's the prisoners that
Right.
have to do this critical infrastructure, because if it's so critical, it should be highly valued. It should be
Right.
well respected, because we want people to
Right.
do a good job at it.
But doesn't this happen in modern society where it's like there's super critical things, but we just don't compensate people?
So I guess there's two issues. There are careers or industries that are critical for society, but we could compensate them. And then the other metric is it socially respected?
Okay.
So I guess
So-
an example for this is, if for blue collar work, is like welders. It's socially like, oh, you're a blue collar guy, I'm gonna look down on you. But like, actually, welders make a lot of money.
That's right. And I guess there's like plumbers, like kind of
Look down on you, but like,
like
critical. Like, what are you
And-
gonna do in
and
your
I
home
think-
if your water doesn't work?
yeah, and plumbers make a lot of money because
Oh,
it's a valuable skill that people need in critical moments in time. They can get paid a lot of money.
And like,
But I guess there's-
K through 12 teachers, they don't get paid very much, and society kind of like, oh, you're just a teacher, like, but actually,
Yeah.
critical for the future of our society. But maybe that's an issue of the delayed outcomes, and it's also hard to measure, like which teachers along the path really made a huge difference. Like it's hard to measure.
That's true. So I think sometimes in our modern society, there are critical jobs that we don't compensate with either enough respect, or enough compensation.
I agree.
There are also jobs that don't get the respect they deserve, but they're compensated like a welder is making,
Yeah.
you know, 300,000-400,000 a year for a experienced one. So,
if they're dwelling dangerous jobs, yeah.
but the silo society seems kind of unrealistic in the sense that all of the dirty jobs, which are critical, are shit on, and they don't get any. What's the benefit? And it's like HR bloat at the top.
That's right.
Getting all the respect, but what are they doing? Like shuffling papers
Oh
around
my
all day?
gosh, my frustrations at university. So it's like 3 admins for every 1 professor at universities, but it's like, what are we doing at universities? Isn't this a research facility? What's going on here? And like, who makes the most money? The admin people. It's crazy.
Yeah. So,
But maybe that's why they have rebellions, because it's the uppers and the mids having the chill lifestyle, and then the down deepers, they get no respect and they get pressure all the time, and they're not making any more money than anyone else. But they have a critical job. That without their jobs, the society shuts down real fast. But they don't get the respect.
they don't
So
get the
maybe,
respect.
I mean, gosh, from the up tops perspective, they've got to think at some point, like, why do we keep having rebellions from the down deep specifically?
Right.
Well, you shit on them all the time.
Yeah. And plus, they shit on them and they have power.
That's right.
So, weird. So, just this offhand comment by, Judge Meadows about metal, to me, says so much about the supply chains and the economic situation, the social situation within the silo that I'm interested. I want to see what's going on.
I mean, heck, she doesn't even care what type of metal it is. It's just generically metal.
Yeah, she didn't even say like steel or anything.
Stainless steel, aluminum. I'm like, nope. Just generic metal. I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
Go mine it out of the ground for me.
Go mine it. I don't care. I'm the judge.
The judge.